Yep, and hello everybody, and welcome back to some more Painkiller. Today we are going to be doing the town, which is another unique condition level. And for this one, we can only complete the level using the stake gun, and specifically just the stakes. Just like with the asylum level, this one's actually pretty well designed around the stake gun. So the enemies don't really move too fast, and there's a bit more unique and fun play to be had with this. So, how are you guys doing?
Pretty good.
I'm still angry about genealogy.
You mind explaining to people who don't know what that is?
Genealogy of the Holy War, fourth Fire Emblem game that has maps so huge that makes half of your army useless.
Out of curiosity, are a lot of the old Fire Emblem games like that, where they're just pretty ruthless like that, or is it just like really weirdly select titles?
No, that is mostly something specific to genealogy, because with genealogy they decided to go like this different approach where like every map that you fight on is meant to be like an entire country, and you're actually like, it's supposed to represent like each, like the main goal of the game is to conquer each castle on the map, and when you conquer all of them, you finish it. And so the idea is that like you're in this massive campaign conquering an entire country. The problem is the maps are so big that you have to rely heavily on your mounted units, which is annoying because like some of your mounted units actually suck, and some of your foot units would actually be great if it were in any other Fire Emblem game, but because they are in genealogy, they can't get to the action, which is really frustrating, right? Because you need some units who are actually capable of killing some of the enemies, but then you have to rely on some mediocre units because they are the ones who can get to the action first. And it's a really frustrating game in that regard, because you have to be constantly in mind, okay, which units can I actually get to this point of the map? So like what happens most of the what happens most of the time is like in some of the maps you just have to divide your army, and so that one of them can actually get to the, so that some maps are worse than others in this case. Like in one of them, your foot units just have to be waiting on the side of the map until you conquer one of the castles, so that they can actually meet the enemy, because that's how the story goes. Others, you actually have like diff enemies in a certain point of the map where you can actually get the foot in a decent time, but it's not frequent.
Yeah.
Like, that is like the main issue with the game. It makes it really frustrating and a lot of the time just a bore to play. Because like, one of the maps, like chapter 2, you have to reach your units all the way to the top of the map to conquer a castle. But there is this massive like piece of terrain blocking the access to the one on the other side. So once you conquer this map, then you have to drag your units back down all over, like all the way back, so you can reach the other castle that you have to conquer. It's a really frustrating game.
Yeah. I don't know, like I was just thinking like how you could make that a little bit better, but the only thing I can think of would be, unless it's like you're on a constant time limit, just having your mounted units move at roughly the same speed as they would with your foot soldiers.
What from problem is that that kind of defeats the point of a mounted unit. Like, it's not so much of a problem in other Fire Emblem games because the maps are designed around foot units or units with different movement speeds. But like the main, like in for example, the main. It's not in Path of Radiance, for example. It's not difficult to have your foot units keep up with the mounted ones. The main benefit of the mounted units is the ability to the ability called Canto, which means that you can move back once you attack the enemy.
Oh, they don't have that in that one. Okay.
Yeah. Well, in Genealogy you have Canto too, because you can move back once you attack the enemy. The problem is that the maps are like. The maps are simply not designed with like half of your army in mind. There is like a lot of design choices in that game which I find are very ill-conceived. Like in most Fire Emblem games, you can, if your unit is a certain amount, like it's a certain amount of points faster than the enemy, they can double. Like they can attack twice in the same turn. In Genealogy, that ability is locked behind a skill. Like you have to have a skill called Pursuit before you can actually do that. So it's like there are some really you can't freely trade in that game, which you have to use like the pawn shop. You have to sell items. And then your audience who wants that item has to buy that item to be able to use it. So like a lot of the design choices in that game, in my opinion, very ill-conceived. I think they designed that choice because otherwise you would trade items like the Paragon Ring like candy. You would trade it around and everyone would experience time. That's why they designed the pawn shop like that. But like, if you're gonna do it like that, just design the items in a different way. Like trading items in the game is so frustrating because you have to waste money. You can't do it in battle. Like the first game on the NES had the ability to give items from one unit to the other. Which is like superior to that. So like they went backwards with how they did it in the game in Genealogy.
Yeah, that's interesting. Anyway, we barely talked about the level, so aside from the villagers, they're pretty basic. They're just more like shambling zombies that throw their torches, and then when they're out of their torches, they don't die, they just go to ripping out their organs. We have these witches that just do flybys and shoot fireballs. And there was also the big warlock-looking guys who pick up dead bodies and chuck them at you. And they're really annoying because if you get too close to them, they do like a force push on you that does a lot of damage.
You like the static here a lot.
The static?
No, the static.
Oh, the like aesthetic. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm a big sucker for everything medieval fantasy.
Yeah. What's your opinion on it all being brown, though?
I mean, it fits the theme of the game.
Okay.
It's not like all the the hundreds of like a shooter games and back in the like 360 era that were brown for no other reason that I don't know, they suck at making colors. Was the trend at the time? I don't know.
I think it was probably because it was easier to like render and like paint or whatever. Or but yeah, this was the force push that the warlock does. That's annoying as shit. But no, I was just asking because I know how your opinion on when movies make medieval fantasies brown as shit.
Yeah. Well, but in this case, like you have this the game has kind of like a gothic theme, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it does make it is consistent with the theme of the coloring is consistent with the theme of the level, so it makes sense. What I hate about it is when they stylize everything that is like medieval fantasy or just historical movies in general, horribly desaturated and free of color, because it's that perspective that everything in the past was just horrible all the time, 24/7.
Yeah. But we completed the level, got an upgrade to our haste, and we'll see you all next time. Have a nice night.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.